Okay?
Anyway.
Anywho. Hi. I'm Dave.
And I'm Chris.
And this is Horror Happy Hour. Tonight we're going to be reviewing Stakeland. Now, you can probably tell from the title, it's about vampires.
Yes, it is about vampires, but it's fucking awesome.
And if Crystal had to describe the movie in 2 words, those 2 words would be...
fucking awesome.
Because, just like their previous movie, Mulberry Street, which was also...
fucking awesome.
Stakeland could also qualify as...
I'm not going to say it again.
Anyway, Stakeland was directed by Jim Mickle, who, as previously stated, did Mulberry Street. He also wrote this, and it was also co-written by Nick DeMichi, who starred in it, who pulled off an absolutely great, what I think is a great performance as Mr.
Also starring as Martin, Connor Palo.
Connor Palo, yeah, as Martin. Who I think they took that name from the George Romero vampire movie Martin. Now that's just speculation, that's pure conjecture.
Speculation.
I'm not actually basing that on anything other than the fact that his name is Martin.
Okay.
Okay, so Stakeland opens up where okay, I'm gonna let Crystal explain the plot because I think she does that just better than I do. And go ahead. Off we go.
So this movie basically starts off where you meet Martin and his family, and they're trying to pack up to leave because there's these fucking crazy monster-like vampires all over the place. Because these aren't like
it's a vampire plague.
Yes, it's vampire plague.
Oh, sorry.
But these aren't like, you know, human-looking vampires. They look like fucking monsters.
They're the vicious ones, the ones we love. The ones from like 30
Days a Night kind of vamps.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome. So, he runs out of the little garage thing to chase after the dog, and the family's calling to him. And
which was a godsend that this dog ran away.
This is how he encounters Mr.
Mr. tackles him so he doesn't go back into the house. The vampires are in there.
Yeah, or the vampire is in there.
The vampire is in there.
So they eventually go back there to find out what happened, and the father's throat is ripped out, and he's still kind of alive, and the mother's dead. And they finally hear the baby crying. They
hear a baby crying.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the flashlight pans up, and you see the vampire sitting in the rafters.
Eating the baby. And then
the crying stops.
Yeah, the crying stops. It drops the baby onto the floor.
By its leg.
And this is the beginning of Stakeland.
And that's how Stakeland begins. They went back into the house to kill the vampire.
Yeah.
They didn't go back in there to check like, oh, here's your dying family, by the way. Here's what that looks like for you.
No. Went back in to kill the vampire.
To kill the vampire.
Because vampire teeth are apparently a form of currency in this new world.
Yeah, the new world, because money has obviously become completely obsolete in a world of vampires and shit like that. You can't go down to 7-Eleven and be like, oh, let me get a coffee. Just give them like a 5, you know. You're paying in vampire teeth now, so obviously you have to kill vampires in order to get vampire teeth, or at least find dead ones and pull their teeth out.
Yeah.
So, that's the new current, and so... From there and whatnot, he takes him on this road trip through a post-apocalyptic America, teaching him how to survive, how to battle these vampires, going from town to town to town to broken down ass town.
Yep.
Now the main roads in this movie
are all controlled by this like other cult, the Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood. And
they believe that the vampires are sent from God as like the second coming. So they're like
pro-vampire. Yeah. They're pro-throwing people to the vampires.
Yeah, oh, they're all about throwing people to vampires.
Yep.
And the vampires, because of this, don't necessarily attack them.
Yes. We first encounter the Brotherhood when 2 of them are chasing down this nun to rape her.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mr. being Mr. just completely just awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to describe what he does. I'm not going to ruin the movie for you, but...
Picture, like the best way I could describe this movie to you is like Zombieland meets The Road. So obviously it would be Zombieland with no humor, and that like kind of harrowing feeling the road let off. But
and much like Zombieland, it was that road trip, like I said, through a post-apocalyptic America, except this time like with vampires instead of zombies, and without any kind of humor, and you can even see it in the title of the movie itself. Zombieland, Stakeland. So I'm not going to say and shit like that, like if you loved Zombieland or whatnot, you're going to love Stakeland, but you really should.
Yeah, because we love these both movies.
Yeah,
even though they're not like Stakeland is not humorous at all.
The only similarity is the fact that it's a road trip through a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, with
it's
a group.
more of a road trip in this one than it was in Zombieland.
It had that like kind of like Walking Dead feeling too, where it's like a group of people.
Yes.
But they're not shy about killing them off.
Yes, exactly. The people enter the group, people exit the group. So if you love The Walking Dead and you kind of like want to see like an abridged version.
Yeah, like a vampire, kind of like zombie version. Because like up until a certain point, the vampires weren't necessarily smart. They were just hunting for food, like animals do.
Yeah, no, they weren't, and they were vicious vampires, but they weren't like those weird ones where they kind of like run up walls and shit like that, where it's just like, well, how the hell are they?
They were like people turned into monsters.
Yeah, they were just like they were vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know.
That couldn't be killed easily.
Yes, that obviously, you had to like, it was not only did you have to go through the heart, but then you had to like sever the spinal from the brain, from the spinal or something.
It's not an easy thing to kill these vampires.
Yes. It was not an easy thing at all.
But it was a really brilliant movie, and it worked on a lot of levels.
Every step of the way. I mean, the acting was great on everybody's part. I mean, you had Nick D'Amici playing Mister. He did a fantastic job. Connor Paulo playing Martin. Those are the two main ones on the road trip. They encounter Kelly McGillis. They encounter Danielle Harris. You remember her as the little girl from Halloween 4 and 5.
She plays a pregnant woman.
She plays the pregnant chick in this. Hatchet 2, if you don't remember Halloween 4, the little girl from Halloween 4 and 5. She was in Hatchet 2 recently. Larry Fessenden does a cameo as the bartender.
One of the bartenders.
Yeah, as one of the bartenders, because obviously those bars are like the main thing in most of these towns. He produced it, so that explains that. I keep saying I apologize for that. I'm sorry. Willie is played by Sean Nelson. That's another one that comes a part of their group, and Jebediah, the leader of the cult.
Yeah, the main real evil guy.
Yeah, it's played by Michael Cerveris.
So like I said, like to me, like the Walking Dead vibe here was like kind of like with the fact that the vampires weren't necessarily the biggest monsters in this movie. It
did that very well. Like a lot of the post-apocalyptic movies, like they do that with a human is not necessarily the biggest monster. Like where human is the biggest monster around. With the monster itself, the zombie, the vampire in this, the vampires weren't the biggest monster.
No, not at all.
That's I guess what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
Is a cult on the street that owned the main roads. Those are the ones that people like really had to worry about.
Yeah, because the like view was just so
askew,
so misguided.
Yeah. It was so out of control. These people.
Yeah, they were even like setting up traps for people
to catch people.
Yeah, to get like really horrible things that they set up. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm. And some of the things that they did to this one town, I'm not even going to go into it, but it was just fantastic. It worked on like every single level. One of the best vampire movies. It's definitely in my top 5 vampire movies.
Best movie of the last decade.
Yeah, best one I've seen since Daybreakers. Because I love Daybreakers. That would probably also make my top 5. From Dusk Till Dawn is my favorite. I'm just going to come right out and say it.
Yeah, I would totally give this movie a 9. It was really awesome. I didn't even we went to a screening, but we didn't actually get to stay for the Q&A because we had waited online in the rain for an hour.
Yeah, so in order to prevent getting pneumonia, we had to rush home to it.
But like, it was that good that we had no issue about that, so...
Yeah, it was so... Yeah, I wanted to ask questions because obviously you want to ask questions, but I would have gotten pneumonia as a result of it, so that sucks, but, you know, it is what it is.
But it was an awesome movie and totally worth being saturated.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Yeah,
totally
it was
the pacing. I really have to mention the pacing because the pacing never stopped. It wasn't one of these movies where it gets action-packed from beginning to end, but it never lost its stride. It never skipped stride.
Yeah, it made sense. Like, what was going on always made sense.
I would say that it was better than 30 Days. I think it was way better than 30 Days a Night.
I didn't know you were comparing it to that.
I didn't. Well, I compare it to any sort of like vampire movie that came out like around like the last decade that was big. This was way better than
30 Days a Night.
Way better than 30 Days a Night. I'd say it was on par with Daybreakers. Maybe even better than Daybreakers if you thought some of the parts of Daybreakers was silly because this never actually gets silly.
No, it doesn't.
It stays human. Yeah. Very human.
It was good. So I give it a 9.
I would definitely say a 9. This is one of the best vampire movies you're apt to catch like in this lifetime.
So neuter and spay your vampires.
Yeah, pull their teeth out.
And pull their teeth out so you can make some money.
Yeah, get your money. Get paid.
Get paid. Thanks for watching.
And have a nice...
sometime.
Day.
Have a nice one.